Hey, this is Marilyn Gigliotti.
Hey, this is Brian O'Halloran.
Hey, everybody. My name is Scott Schiaffo, actor best known as the Chulies Gum Guy from the film Clerks.
And welcome to Clerks Minute.
You're listening to Clerks Minute.
And I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Hi, this is Mike Zapsik from AMC's Comic Book Man, the podcast I Sell Comics, and the Ming and Mike Show. And you're listening to Clerks Minute. What's up, everybody? This is Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Man. You got a minute? Good, because you're listening to Clerks Minute.
Hey, this is Walt Flanagan, the Lon Chaney of the 90s, and you are listening to Clerks Minute.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Clerks Minute, the summer series. This is episode number 1 and I am here to bring you a classic interview I conducted with Brian O'Halloran a couple of years ago on the Blake and Sal Show. This is the start of our summer run and we're going to have a bunch of fun stuff every other Friday throughout the summer. So sit back and enjoy my interview from a couple of years ago with Brian O'Halloran himself. Let me bring up the man known to many as Dante from the View Askew universe, Brian O'Halloran. Brian, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
So, welcome to the show. We haven't had a guest on the main show in a very long time, so this is actually pretty cool.
Oh, right on, man, right on.
So, well, before we get started here, what are you up to right now? I know you said you were going to doing some cons around the area. What are you up to?
Well, missing the NFL draft.
Oh, I'm sorry.
First off, and I'm only kidding. Actually, yeah, I have a couple of conventions coming up this summer, and also I just got done 2 weekends ago shooting a short film with Jeremy London, TS from Mallrats fame. We also know him as Party of Five and many others. We did a comedy short called Monsters Anonymous. That we shot down where he lives down in the Gulf Coast of Mississippi.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. I mentioned in the introduction here, actually, I just want to quickly, we played Soul Asylum. Can't even tell as your intro here from the Clerks soundtrack. One of my favorite songs, actually, from that era. Looking back, a lot of people know you as Dante Hicks. Going back to that role, did you ever expect that? You're one of the original Clerks. Did you ever expect to have such a cult following that you have now?
No, not really. We were doing something that humor-wise wasn't being done out there. It was not, the regular type of jokes in films that would be the subject matter of that what we did. Talking about certain sexual preferences with different people and talking about Star Wars references before anybody else made Star Wars references in other movies. It was a kind of thing, a slice of life of what we were as so-called Gen Xers and feeling the angst of now growing into the marketplace. What are we going to do with our lives? So I just thought I would just have a VHS copy of it just to have something to show friends like, hey, look what I did this past spring, that type of thing.
Well, it's interesting because I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, and what was it for you? Because you came in and we were like almost off the street, working with a very young Kevin Smith. From your perspective, what was that like?
Very much similar to the very more mature Kevin Smith. Kevin really is who you see, pretty much. As a young Kevin Smith, when we were making the film, we were in our early 20s. I was 23 at the time. I believe he was 22 at the time. And, for someone so young to write something so similar to how me and my friends talk in different subject matters, it was kind of cool to have to work on and work with someone who got it. And then working with Dave Klein and Scott Mosier, they did the and Scott, the producer, and also the sound guy, and getting it done. It was all of our first times doing film. I know they had gone to film school. They knew all the technical aspects of it and done projects for their schooling, but to go out and we're going to do this script, and I think it's a good way of simplifying the script by keeping it in two to three locations very simply, and just concentrate on the storyline and the actual lives of these characters was I thought a great thing. And he's a very relaxed individual in the sense, like, there wasn't high pressure. Now, don't get me wrong, there was pressure on him to get this done. He had put up a lot of money and took out a lot of loans from credit cards and took money from his parents and Scott's parents to make this. So the pressure was on them. Once we were done filming, the fun part was filming. Now it was the editing and trying to get it seen by somewhere and get it bought was the real stressful part, I would believe, for Kevin.
That's true. Well, for you, what was the most difficult thing about filming?
Having a real job during the daytime. I mean, we shot from 10:30 at night till sometimes 6 in the morning, and then getting. I lived just about an hour away, but an hour north from where we shot down in Leonardo. I was living up in New Brunswick at the time, sharing a house with like 5 other friends of mine because they were going to college on the Rutgers campus. So it was going to work. I had a job where I worked 9 to 5. I would come home from lunch. For lunch, I was only 5 minutes away from where that house was to grab a quick cat nap and then go back to work. Try to get out like at 4:30 early and then come back home to sleep until about 9:30, get up, shower, shave, and then get back down to the store to start filming again. So after a while, that kind of schedule kind of wore down on me. There's a scene where I'm in the store and Randall comes back from going to the other video store, and I tell him that I was fined for selling cigarettes to kids, which I wasn't. If you listen to me in that dialogue, you can hear me sniffling. I was developing a head cold towards the end of the production, just from lack of sleep and running around and shooting at night and all this other, and lack of proper diet.
Well, I have to, as you just brought up talking to Randall, I always considered that for me the first kind of almost like bromance before there was a bromance on TV. I loved you guys together. What was that chemistry like? Was it like that immediately for you two? Because it always felt like that watching it.
Getting along with Jeff was definitely awesome. I wouldn't say it was immediate like that. There was just a lot of pressure on everybody just to get the lines done. You know what I mean? And I had come from theater, so I had a history of working in the theater and learning lines and knowing, being on time and stuff like that. While this was Jeff's first foray into any type of acting like that. He had worked with Kevin, in high school on like kind of different class variety shows and things like that. But to actually have to sit down and learn lines and say it, with timing and in front of a camera, it was really a great job on his part to get that personality that is Randall out. And Kevin really helped him and really worked with him a lot. And so after a while, we developed that awesome kind of banter chemistry because in a way, Kevin wrote it that way. And he's a really genuinely a great guy to know and to work with. And that's, the testament to how Kevin writes. And when we got together again for Clerks 2, that's when the chemistry again came back in the cartoon series. So in the beginning it was different, but now, I think whenever we get together and Kevin wants to do something that's Dante Randall related, it doesn't take much time to get on that bike.
It's funny as you bring that up because I always joke in other movies and the YouTubers you like have you guys on speed dial. Like, I have a role for you. Of course, you're going to say yes, correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's also other filmmakers as well. I mean, if you look at any of the Spike Lee movies, you could find almost the same 7 people he loves to work with. You look at Scorsese, he does the same thing. He works with a lot of the same type of people again. And that's just genuinely any type of filmmaker or usually any other type of production. Think of even construction workers. If someone gets a bid on a house to do work, the general contractor is going to talk to his favorite plumber. He's going to bring in his guy that he knows can get the job done with electricity. So it's the same thing no matter what you do. You want to work with people that you already have relationships with. The old adage, it's not what you know, it's who you know in Hollywood. And in a way, it's because you don't want drama on set. You have a schedule to meet. You want to get the film done, and you want to work with people who will get it done without a lot of explanation because you're already familiar with people's quirks and eccentricities and stuff like that.
It's funny. My best friend here, Scotty, he actually didn't really know the Clerks movies. I remember when I first saw the movie, it was on videotape. Like, it's really weird saying that. I feel old every time I bring a videotape up. But I watched it because my best friend at the time, like, you have to see this movie, you have to see this movie. I feel like that's how everything got so popular. And did you expect that big hit when it came out on video? That's when I found out about everything.
No, it became big via word of mouth, and it was the same thing. When VHS type rental places and kids ask your grandparents what that's all about. Once people got word of mouth on it, it was passed around, and the people at Miramax were very smart. They had a very young and vibrant PR department to know how to get the word out on movies back then. And one of the things they did was send Kevin and Scott out to a college tour to bring the film to different colleges, have a screening, and then that word of mouth would get people to want to see it. And then when the rental market came around for the VHS rentals, Blockbuster picked it up, and Hollywood Video and all those types. Me and Jeff Anderson were at a convention trying to hawk video sales for the distributor. We had literally one of the CEOs or one of the operating officers come up to me and Jeff and say to us, like, "Do you know your movie is one of the most unreturned and stolen videos in our chain?" And I pretty much told him, "Well, that's our fan base, a bunch of cheap thieves."
Right. That sounds about right.
Plus, here's another thing. Back in '94, when they had that second Woodstock up in upstate New York, when the band stopped playing around like 1 a.m, they still had entertainment for people 24 hours. And one of the things they screened was movies, and Clerks was one of those movies back in '94. So here you had a whole bunch of, wasted, stoned, sex-raved, fiend kids up in Woodstock watching some sort of black and white crazy movie that they probably thought was made in 1972. And here it was, this fresh new comedy called Clerks.
Well, you mentioned Clerks 2. What were your thoughts when Kevin's like, "We're going to do Clerks 2"? I remember I was like, "Huh? We're going to do really Clerks 2's coming out?"
I was really excited, when he told me the premise of where he was taking these characters. Now, given that we had already done the Clerks cartoon by that point, Dante and Randall showed up in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. It wasn't lost to see that these guys are still around in the Viewers universe. So to say, when he told me, like, well, this is where they would be in their 30s, this is the kind of problem they're getting is, and this happens to real life where friends get married, and sometimes friends don't like the spouses that friends chooses, and they start to drift maybe or try to hold on even tighter and cause rifts and that type of thing. When that happens with this couple, this bromantic couple, it makes for a great hilarity. And then Kevin brings in some other great people to play some other roles that are awesome. Yeah, Trevor Furman, who played Elias, one of the co-workers, and obviously Rosario Dawson playing Becky, who was a secret love interest. So that was a good mix, I thought, to where these cats would be in their 30s. So I was happy to do it. I mean, yeah, Jeff was extremely nervous, like, do we really want to do a sequel? Usually number 2s of any series are awful, except of course Star Wars. So it's always a worrisome thing, and it took him even into 3 days of shooting before he got convinced that I think what we're doing it will work out.
Well, for Clerks 2, and this is going to sound, you've probably heard this question a lot, but I'll ask it anyway. For you, what was crazier, making out with Kevin's wife in front of him, or being able to make out with Rosario Dawson?
Well, look, it's not every day that you're asked to make out with your so-called boss's wife while he watched and others filmed it. So that in itself, even that statement in itself is really out of the range of people's jobs descriptions when they go, well, what do we got to do today? And then you look at your list of your to-do list. It's like, got to make out with the wife while she straddles me on a swing. All right, sounds good. So it was really great. I mean, Jennifer Schwalbeck was awesome to work with, and a pro, of course. And I have much love and respect for her and for Kevin. And in my mind, I just wanted to get the scene done just because of the awkwardness of it, and make sure that nothing else happened while the kissing was going on while she was straddling me. That's kind of an awkward conversation. I'm like, no, really, it's a mic pack. That's all that's in my pocket. So that kind of explanation is kind of odd. But at the same time, then getting to work with Rosario Dawson, and then that was one of the last scenes we actually shot, was the scene where